I'm going to say this for those who need to hear it. If you have a job that puts you on a schedule and give you a paycheck every week or every 2 weeks, consider yourself blessed. Consider yourself lucky to have an income coming in at all, because whether it's through downsizing, people losing benefits, or whether it's just because inflation is through the roof, this economy is whooping people's behinds up and down the street. Okay. It's not a day that goes by where I don't see video after video of people being put out on the street, their stuff being like literally left on the curb by the sheriffs, or them not knowing where they're going to go. I saw a woman just today in a car with her 2 kids who had to go to Publix to wash up and all this other stuff. This is becoming a real issue in America. And the powers that be don't give a fuck. They're cutting benefits because they always were going to cut benefits. I see a lot of people crying that it's Donald Trump. Donald Trump is taking these benefits. The Republicans are taking these benefits. They've been trying to take benefits for as long as I've been following politics. And eventually, because this is a house of cards, because this is a pyramid scheme, the United States financial system, that house of cards was going to come crashing down. And they just needed a reason to do it, or a way to stave it off for as long as possible. And the first thing that was going to go is not the tax cuts that they give to their friends, the oligarchs, and the people in other countries who buy off our politicians, and for them to pad their own pockets. They will screw us over first and foremost by taking benefits from the people. Now they're sitting up there in these different cities talking about locking people up for being homeless. And if they don't have any place to go, if they choose not to go into a treatment program, what if they're not on drugs? If they choose not to go to a homeless shelter, what if there's not a lot of homeless shelters? Even here in Vegas, there's like but 1 or 2 homeless shelters. Okay. Then their third option is jail. This is what our government is saying they're going to do to people. And what pisses me off about that the most, is not just because they're doing it to homeless people, but because a lot of homeless people, at least in this area, I know in this area here in Las Vegas where I stay, there's a lot of homeless veterans. So are you guys going to come through and you guys are going to round up these people who fought in Vietnam, who fought in Desert Storm, who fought in Operation Iraqi and Enduring Freedom? You guys are going to lock these people up because they have mental issues after you guys have put them through the ringer. Y'all scale back on their benefits. Y'all scale back on their health care. Then y'all are going to persecute them. I have a problem with that. I have a deep-seated problem with that. And I have no love for state law enforcement or the government law enforcement who is going to persecute the people. You guys are fucking tyrants. You guys are. And some of us are willing to die for our freedom. I'm not willing to attack, but I'm not willing to submit to fucking tyrants ever. That's just for me personally. And the reason I'm saying this is because I see video after video from liberal minded men crying about everything that's going on, just like I do. I make videos bitching about what's going on, seldomly offering suggestions. My suggestion is you do not submit. That means that your life may be forfeit at the end of the day, but those of us who know that the price of freedom may be your life, your freedom. We're not talking about for the nation. We're not talking about for your family or for the world. We're talking about for you as an individual. As an individual, if you are so gung-ho about your cause, you have to, in your mind, know that you were willing to die for that cause. And some of us, long time ago, way when we were teenagers, realized that, hey, at some point, we may have to die fighting the so-called powers that be, because the only authority that gives them the word of right, that makes them right, is the fact that they have a monopoly on violence. And you give them a monopoly on violence when you submit. When, like I say, you defang yourself, you put down your weapons, you bend the knee. I say that if they put your life in danger, if they're going to lock you up for simply not having a place to stay, then at that point you have to die for your freedom. At least I will. And I was just on the streets last year. But what I'm going to tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to jail because I can't afford a place to stay. I'm just leave it at that because I'm starting to I'm getting pissed off talking about this. You get what I'm saying? You can get on TV and say what you want to do, and we're going to have cops in this, like they do in DC. They got cops on every block in DC right now. And what's happening is, for the most part, the citizenry are like confused. Like, yo, crime is at an all-time, not going to say all-time, but a 30-year low. Why are all of a sudden y'all got DEA, DHS, FBI, all these people roaming the streets of Washington D.C. because it's an epidemic of crime? No, it's to put the boots on the necks of the impoverished. That's what it's about. And they were going to always do this. This isn't bound by one man. For those of you that have Trump derangement syndrome. Those of us who have told y'all that there's no two-party system, there's just one government, have been telling y'all about this forever. And there's parts of this that I like. This I'm not going to even hold you up. That I revel in the fact that the government is tightening its belt to a certain degree. I do. Not with this whole police state thing, because that is the business of fucking cowards and tyrants. But in the sense that this system that they set up, as far as their welfare state, as far as taking care of certain communities, have not taken care of those communities. Because if they did, it would be an absolute contradiction to have all this law enforcement, that fucking government run law enforcement taking over the state law enforcement, if those systems work. No, a lot of these inner cities, a lot of these places are cesspools and hellholes because that system of Section 8, of checks endlessly, food stamps endlessly, has not worked. You can't, I'm not saying that you shouldn't give it, but there needs to be systems that go along with that, and not making people jump through hoops. There needs to be a humane way for people to transition from that, depending on the government's teeth, into independence. And the fact is that most people, not just the people that are receiving a direct check, I'm not talking about the people that are getting the government system. I'm talking about most Americans are dependent on the spigot from the government. Most people think that they're going to get a Social Security. The government wants to kill you way before that. That's why they put poison in your food and all that other shit. They don't want you to make it to 65 to collect on motherfucking thing. Most people think they're entitled to some type of health care if they put into this system. But just like I just said, they're willing to lock up veterans, homeless fucking veterans who may have addiction issues, who have served this country fucking bravely, valiantly, right? May have lost a limb. There's niggas out, like literally out here. I won't take them for fucking indignity's sake. Literally out here with no fucking legs, missing arms and shit. Out here fucking smoking crack and shit, right? Because y'all say, well, you shouldn't be smoking crack. Mm-hmm. Fuck you. Those people served the country and literally put their lives on the line, at least with the idea that they were fighting for our ability to get on here and speak as we speak. I honor those men. I'm not going to go fight the oligarchs' war, but I find it very remarkable, the spirit that exists in the people that have. The people that did say, all right, I'm just going to go here and I'm going to throw myself in front of bombs. I'm going to go in this convoy and potentially get blown up by an IED. But these people fucking come home, they taking themselves out every 22 minutes, and then y'all want to sit here and say, oh, they don't deserve fucking benefits. All right, whatever. I'm talking about the motherfuckers who have made it a career to live off the goddamn system, to scam the system, live off of this and that haven't had to evolve within their family lineage in order to adjust to the world that we live in. The only thing that they've been done has been spoon fed by this system, by this government, not to improve, but to be a statistic so that they can come back to their seats in their chambers and make laws against those very people that they wish to police. Who the fuck do y'all think is policing all the people in Washington, D.C. right now? Those are mostly black people being policed. You feel me? That's what that's about. And it's because they purposely made these neighborhoods stagnant. They purposely made these schools stagnant. They purposely promote these type of rappers and lifestyles. The whole 90s was about gangster rap. Niggas that ain't never been gangster, never been put on their life, rapping about, shooting this and shooting that. And what does it do? It created a culture of niggas that don't want nothing more than what they'll get out of the streets. Then you fast forward to now, you create a culture of women who don't want nothing but what they can get out the streets with their pussy. You feel me? By popping some ass or injecting themselves with some fat from their motherfucking stomach and shit. You feel me? Fucking stitching themselves up, looking all unnatural with their goddamn belly buttons and shit because of what the music and what the government is putting on them. Never no self or spiritual improvement. And that's what this video was about. A lot of us can sit here, we can make this, we could point out all these issues, we can get mad. But at some point, we got to offer suggestions. My first suggestion in the beginning of this video is realize what you are willing to die for. If you're willing to die, if you're willing to be free for the rest of your life, realize that the rest of your life may not be very long because you may have to die for your freedom tomorrow. That's the first suggestion on how to fight the system. That starts at one person at a time, a spirit that can collectively come together to fight the powers that be, that can fight the machine. That starts in you, in me, in individuals, and collectively the powers that be become afraid. That's the first suggestion. My second suggestion is, and this is mostly for the men, it's a 90-day detox of all the bullshit. And I'm not saying you have to cut out the video game. I'm not saying you have to cut out everything, but the things you feel that are holding you back, if you're spending 5-6 hours on video games a day and not being productive, see, me, ever since I started living here, if I'm not feeding this beast, if I'm not feeding the machine every day, I feel like I'm not being productive. I feel like I'm losing at life. I feel like I'm not doing something. I know that's wrong. I know that's capitalism putting that on me because I was in the streets, and it's probably some PTSD. It's like, bro, you got to make money. You got to make money. You got to make money. It's probably that, but it's something that exists in me. And I'm like, yo, every day get up and do something productive. Every day get up and make a video. Every day get up and go to work, pick up a shift, do something, work out, pick up a weight, pull, fucking push. Whatever I have to do to adjust to this machine, I'm going to do. But there are the things, devices that I partake in on a week to week basis that over time they adds up, right? Every week, like I've told y'all before, I buy $40 to $60 in marijuana. I buy my pre rolls. I buy at least 3 pre rolls a week. Those pre rolls are about 15 to $20 a piece every week. That's $60. Now 60 plus 60, that's 2 weeks. That's 120. 120 plus 120, that's 4 weeks. What's that? That's $240 that can be extra money that can be in my pocket. You understand what I'm saying? By the end of the year, that's a whole nother situation that I didn't add it up. You know what I'm saying? If I just put that money away in a jar that I can use for something more productive to get me to the next level. A lot of times we find ourselves stagnant in where we are because we wait for life to act on us, and as opposed to acting on life, right? I can sit here comfortable at my job. I can sit here comfortable in this single apartment, right? For the next however long I can maintain it. Or I can take the steps in life right now to act on life before life acts on me. And what do I mean by a life acting on you? A lot of us wait for circumstances to happen in order for us to change. What happened with me last year was, a breakup. I had to move. I didn't have a place to go. I moved into the park. That's the circumstance. That's the circumstance that changed my life. You feel me? That changed my way of thinking. That changed who I was. That was me waiting for life to act on me as opposed to acting on life. You get what I'm saying? And I mean that as far as in anything, right? A lot of people wait for them. Like I said, I've seen video after video, people getting evicted, getting put out, stuff on the curb, don't know where they're going to go, all this, everything, because they waited up to the point for life to act on them. Then they have to make a change because they have no choice, right? They have no choice in that moment. Let's stop doing that. Let's start making the fucking changes in our life before life acts on us. For me, I need to cut out these energy drinks more than goddamn than anything. Before in a couple years I'm having kidney stones or heart palpitations or problems because I'm addicted to that shit. Cut the shit out. And I can save money because I buy that shit all week too. That's more money that can go towards whatever my goals are to better my life in the future. I say this. And this is what I had to do. I had to go outside of myself and look at myself in the third person as if I'm a whole nother entity, right? And I deconstructed my life for who I am as a person. Jeremy. This is Jeremy. This is where I am. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. This is what I want to prove. This is what I want to do. This is what I'm telling myself. This is how I'm going. This is how I'm looking at myself. And then I started giving myself advice as if I was talking to another person, taking out all my biases, all of my prejudices that exist in me. Of course, my sympathies for that individual who is me. Take all that away and just look at that person as if he was a stranger and give that person advice on everything that you deconstructed. And what do you need? What do you see you need to change? What would you improve in order to get you to the point where you want to get to? And whatever that point is, have you even defined what that point is? That's a big problem for me. Even right now, as I sit here and I talk to y'all, there are things I haven't defined what that point is for myself exactly. I can sit here and tell you, oh yeah, I want to make more videos. I want to get to this point. I've already reached my subscriber goal on here. I'm very satisfied with my audience and all this other stuff. So even when people say, well, we get to 10,000, I don't think like that because it's not necessarily a goal of mine. Maybe it should be. Maybe it's something I should put out there. I do think about my cartoon. I think about finishing it, just finishing the motherfucker, because I've been working on shit. That's why I haven't had put out videos this week, y'all, because I've been working on this bitch. Look at that. I've been working on it. I've been working. That's just a little clip, a little snippet. But doing that, putting the energy into that. But like, I'll put that shit on the back burner for months and then come back to it. And I can't do that. I have to take these days to come home, get my little rest in, put the work in there, because those little steps equal something bigger later. They're just little steps. They're little steps. It took forever for me to even learn how to make something like that. Those were little steps that got me to that point. It took me forever to learn how to paint, but I got there. Little steps, everything. It took me forever to learn how to even like working out. I hated working out in high school and fucking middle, but I got to that point too. And they were just all incremental steps. Even when I started working out with a milk jug, little by little, little by little. I mean, I'm not like in super good shape, but I'm in pretty good shape for a 42 going on 43-year-old man, I think. And then I started running around my block a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Until I enjoyed what I got out of it, until I started to like what I saw aesthetically in the mirror. When speaking of aesthetics, I just have to throw this out there. Men in dresses This is random. It's just because I just saw some niggas. I guess it's in New Orleans doing a dress run. Niggas in dresses is ugly aesthetically, and it offends me. Ugly. It's just the ugliest shit. Men are not meant to wear dresses or skirts unless your name is Spartacus or Maximus Decimus Meridius. That's it. If your name ain't that, if your name ain't fucking Leonidas, and you ain't leading the 300 Spartans into war, you do not need to be wearing a skirt. You do not need to be wearing a skirt. That shit is nasty work. I'm not gonna even put the clips in there because I'm not even editing this video like that. But yo, if that's your goal, find another goal. If your goal is to look beautiful in the dress as a man, you will never meet that goal because our shoulders are too broad. These niggas' back muscles are sticking out the back of the dress and shit. That shit is ugly, bro. Niggas in dresses is hideous. Niggas in makeup, niggas with fingernails. I'm not just not no homo. I didn't say nothing about no homosexuals. I'm saying niggas in dresses is ugly, bro. I just had to put because I'm not gonna make a whole video about that shit. Just have to throw that shit in. That shit is fucking gross. But anyway, my goals being, I have to define what your goals are. But like I said, give yourself advice as if you were giving that advice to a stranger. That's it. Look at yourself from the outside looking in as if you're a stranger, deconstruct that person, and then give that person advice because we all have advice for strangers. We all have advice for how everybody else can live better. We all have advice on how everybody else can improve their life. But when it comes to us, we be stuck on fucking stupid because we don't deconstruct ourselves. We don't look at ourselves with an unbiased lens instead of say, well, I have to be the change that I want to see in this world. Yes, this world is fucked up, but the only way the world changes is if you change yourself from the inside. And it's not some kumbaya shit. It's just the real. You are God's avatar. You only perceive this world through your eyes. You can't perceive this world through my eyes, your mama's eyes, your daddy's eyes, your brother's eyes, your sister's eyes, your children's. You can only perceive this reality through your existence, through your instance, through the being that you are, right? That's it. That's the only part. That's it, right? In order to improve that perception of reality, you have to change the way you see reality. And you have to change the way you see yourself. And sometimes that starts with just doing things that are disciplined and cutting out the things that are holding you back. Like I say, you playing video games too much throughout the week, cut the shit off. Right? At least for 90 days. We're doing a 90-day challenge. If you're spending money on bullshit, 90 days. See how much money you can accumulate in 90 days. If you're not working out, you haven't worked out in years, 90 days. Give me fucking 25 push-ups for 90 fucking days. 25 push-ups, 25 sit-ups, and a couple burpees. That's all we're gonna start with that. We only have to do 5 burpees, do 3 burpees, don't even have to do 25 push-ups, do 20 push-ups, 20 sit-ups, and 3 burpees. That's how we're gonna start. And eventually you're gonna get used to that shit and you're gonna want to move that shit up a little bit. You're gonna want to get a little bit more intense. And that's where you start seeing the improvement. You want to make a little bit more money, you gotta start putting some money aside, bro. If you want to make a little bit more money, and you want to change your life and you don't have the means to change your life, you may have to save some money so you can make that transition from one position to another or make a lateral position. Maybe just switching jobs if you are fortunate. But like I said, if you even have a job, consider yourself fucking lucky. Consider yourself lucky. Everybody's struggling right now. Everybody. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I was trying to be somewhat positive, and I know I started off on the kind of angry rant because I don't like what I see the government doing to fucking homeless people and veterans. But I'm telling you, if I ever had to sleep on the street again, I'm not going to jail because I can't afford no fucking place. We're gonna have to catch one. We gonna have to go to hell together. I'm just gonna put it like that. Y'all want to follow them stupid ass orders in the United States of America, then you can die on a hill with me. Cause I know I'll die. I know if I had to fight that fight, I'm gonna die. I'm okay with that though. I'm okay facing my Lord and Maker and Savior and saying, yes, I died on this hill. This is why I died, because I'm not about to let this motherfucker lock me up because I can't afford a place to stay. I'm not about to let that fucking happen. And if that's where I exit this world, then so fucking be it. And I suggest everybody put that same type of energy out there and watch them change their motherfucking tune.